Hello everyone, this is Melissa. Can you hear me? I thought we'd do actually the review of CSC first before I start the lecture today. I thought we may as well do this review. And I'm taping this now, so this will be on YouTube. So let's go over this. People were asking questions about this in the room this morning. And, you know, one of the ways that you can use this the gap rating system, okay, is not only to play the gap correctly, which is what I do. I play the gap in the correct direction of the gap, okay, and I rate it, and if it rates high and if it rates over 20 points, I do it. But you can also use it for the flip side, which is knowing when a gap is not good enough to do and therefore not going to work. Now, I don't play that as a strategy. I don't play failures. That's what this is today. This is a failure of a bullish gap up, and it wasn't a good one to begin with, and we're going to go over why. But you can play the failure. How are you going to know that? You're going to rate it. It's going to rate like a piece of crap, okay? And you're going to know that it's not going to work in the direction bullishly. Now, that being said, there's plenty of failures that happen that are real failures that do not end up looking like this, okay? But then again, we've seen them, okay? We've seen them. Now, it looks like this did not break on through that pivot. This may be it for the day with this thing. What time is it? 2 o'clock? If it's going to go back down, it's going to have to do it soon in here. Really, really soon. Like right now. Around the 2 o'clock time frame. Let's look at the 30. No, it still could do it. This is holding crazy weak. I mean, just crazy weak. This is a play anyways. If you do an afternoon play in this, you trade this into the close. You're in this to the close. You're in this to this goes to the target or to the close of the day. And that's one of the reasons why I don't typically like to trade in the afternoon, because you are in a trade until it gets to the target, then managing it, or till 4 o'clock Eastern time. You know, that's how you got to play these afternoon trades. All right, so here's the daily chart. Okay, this was not a good bullish gap. It actually was horrific for so many reasons. It would take me all day to list them. But the main thing was this morning, looking at this in the pre-market, there was one tick and one bar. So to even give that any weight really wouldn't make any sense to begin with. You would have a hard time weighting that activity with any type of significance. But let's just say you did. Let's just say, you know what, I know this is actually, that's people in there. That's true. There really were people in there. And this did have earnings. And fine, it did. And it was gapping up. I mean, it opened here at 50.26. But the reality is that as soon as it opened, it showed its hand. Even if you like this, and even if you did understand what was going on here, and even if you wanted to do it, and you said, I love this thing long today, there was never any place that you could have ever bought it or should have ever bought it. And we'll go look at that in a minute. But this was not a good bullish gap. It didn't get above where it needed to here. It's gapping a teeny weeny bit above a rally that took place for 2 weeks. With the market, by the way, as well. Okay, not you know, with the market. All right. And look at this overall picture here, this chart. You can see this. Where was the exact number gap to? 50.26. Look, it needed to gap over. It needed to gap over all of this to go higher. It wasn't that far from doing it. That's the thing. It wasn't that far from doing it, but it did. Okay, it absolutely did not get over it. All right. Therefore, that's all that matters. Remember, no excuses. No excuses for stuff. It has to set up right. It has to work. This didn't set up right. Didn't gap far enough. It was so close, but no cigar. Now, even if you liked it, let's just pretend you did. Let's go to the morning. What was there to do here? Where was the buy? From this open, okay, in here, it ran down $1. It ran down hard $1. I mean, it basically did a reverse swoosh on the open in the first 1 minute bar of the day. So to buy this here is very aggressive. And even if you do that, if you say, I absolutely love this thing, I love it to bits and pieces, which I don't know why you would, but if you would, that's it. You take this trade, you get stopped out right here, breaks the low of the day, you never, ever, 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 ever buy it again. You just don't buy it again. And there were people that were trying to buy this during the day today at different places. And that's one of the reasons it looks like this. And we were discussing this, into here, into here, into here. At the time I spotted it and saw it, and I said it's absolutely going to go to 46. And then I thought it would go to 30, 39. But this has to hold right in here now, if it's going to. Let's look at the 30. 41. Here, this can't do a 60-minute buy setup. If this is a 60-minute buy setup, it won't see the $39 number today. If it doesn't, though, it still could do it. It's still got 2 hours left. So anyways, I don't remember what time. I don't remember what time I saw this in here. Ed was saying it was around the 47.50 area or so. But the actual trade set up here at 10:05 to do this. And you would have known. You would have known. You would have known by this time. At this point, the stock is here around 47, 48 bucks. Okay, so here you are in the chart. You see by now it's a failure. You see that it's a failure there. You see that it's a failure. You see that it's actually gapping down at this point. Now, it didn't gap down. It traded down. But you should be able to spot that that's a failure. Now, of course, at that time, you may not have seen the target that I saw in this. But I saw the utter collapse of what happened on the open. And that, you know, gave me conviction for it to go lower. And I'll show you where I saw the targets. But ultimately, I understand that when there's people that have a bias going in a certain direction and they're hog wild about that thing, they will chase it. They will go after it. They will go after it. They will go after it. You'll see me take 2 trades and stuff sometimes. Run right after the other. But I don't chase and chase and chase stuff, but there are people that do. And when that chasing occurs, it makes more momentum in the direction that it's really going to go anyways. The one that it set itself on the day in the first place, which was in the first 60 seconds of the trading day, when the stock ran down $1, opened at the high of the day. It actually opened at the high of the day. 50.26 was actually the high of the day and the open price. And I'll tell you something, when something opens and holds the high of the day, like that, on a failure like this, that's it. It's the end of the story for it. This is a failure. The open was the high of the day, and it did it hard and fast and strong and immediately. So I saw this around 48, and the reason I said the $46 number where I saw in here, I saw it. Here it is. This is the target. So I knew it was going to go there. But then it started getting underway, and I was like, crap, you know, this thing is really going to go down here at least. And I really thought it could get all the way down in here, but it went down here, and it did hold itself in here. Let's see where the number was. 56, 55. It held actually the open of this green bar here. So that very well might be it. Yeah, it's it here. It's done. It went over 41. Just can't do a 60-minute buy. But what a beautiful... momentum moved down. There was even a second place you could have even taken it in here. This was really the best trade, and you wouldn't have gotten out of it because you would have seen that it was going to break on through. You would have been up. You would have been up so much you would have held some of it at least, and you would have been having the bigger number of the target in the back of your mind. But this really didn't get bought in here at lunch, and it wasn't a hard bounce, and it even started to collapse in here and set up. And actually, if you took this trade, you made money. Actually, if you took this trade in here, it dropped in here. I mean, you made money. You know, there were 60, 70 some cents of play in there. But it started to get basey. It's starting to get late. And it's over the 60, it's a done. Too late to refix itself on this time frame. This time frame has to hold this late in the day. It's too late for this to fix itself. And it's bouncing now. So this really, really just collapsed. I mean, the collapse happened actually. Where did the collapse happen? 45.50. Let me just see here. 45.50. Look at that. The collapse happened when it broke under these people here. Look at that. That's where the actual real collapse occurred. Interesting. So does that answer everybody's questions about this CSC? You know, tell me if you have any other questions about this now before we start the webinar now. Here I know I know it's getting a little bit late here. I'm 8 minutes past, but I wanted to talk about this. It's important. People have questions about this today. Tell me if you have any other questions about this. If not, then we're going to start the class. You know, I'm not telling people to play failures, okay? That's not the point I'm trying to make here. I'm saying use the information that I'm teaching you to know that it's a failure, first of all, to not keep chasing something. Like, so let's just say you want to go long. Chuck wants to flip the things, go long. Fine, do it if you need to. But if that first trade fails, and it does, it recognize what I taught you. Know that then it's a failure. It's a failure. It's done. You can't do it. There's no buy here. It's not going to work. You can play it in the opposite direction, knowing that it's a failure, knowing that it's, gosh darn it, it's a good failure. And if you see the target in sight the way I saw it today, you know, before it hit, you can do it. All right. I'm not teaching you to do that, but the beauty is that you can use the information to help you, number one, trade correctly, but number two, spot a failure. And play it if you want to. You can make a whole trading plan out of playing just failures. You know, you could take the rating system I teach you, rate stuff, and if it's a piece of crap, you could play it the opposite direction. I mean, I'm not in favor of that, but I'm just saying, you know, it's the information that makes sense and is powerful, and you just use it for your own advantage. Mark's saying he came in late. How did I find the stock in the first place? Because I was looking at it, remember yesterday morning. Yesterday morning when I had the watch list, after I was getting ready to finish out the room, I had it on my list for earnings. And it had earnings out this morning. So I was watching it and didn't have anybody in it. It was waiting for the volume, waiting for the people, waiting for it to do something. And then all of a sudden it had one or two ticks. I said, oh, this isn't gapping down. I'm off of it. And then that was the end of the story. Then I went back to it, checking all the gaps in the day, was looking for other things that set up, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't, checking over. And I spotted it and I said, holy cow, look at that thing. And that's why I said $46. $46. It's going to see 46 today. And I said, you know what? It could see 39. And the thing is, it could have seen 39. And I wouldn't put it past this thing to actually gap down tomorrow morning or trade lower tomorrow morning. I honestly did not see this as holding. I really don't even believe this is going to hold. If you want my honest opinion, this is not going to hold. Now, whether or not it holds today or not is a different story, but this is not going to hold. Okay, so it's an area. It bounced off of it, but it did bounce off of it enough to convince me that the move is over. In fact, I'm not convinced the move is over. So this is either going to break on through this thing before 4 o'clock this afternoon, or it's going to do it tomorrow. It will do it. Where did this go up to? 44.52. I mean, honestly, if you did this 5-minute play in here, you're still in this short. You'd be suffering through this rally up here, especially the way the 60 crunched. But this just did a topping tail, and it isn't that late in the day here. I mean, this is not that late in the day. I don't like to see this kind of lift on the 60. I don't like to see this, but if this topping tail holds, and that was it for the rally on through, this could break on through today. Yeah, I'm not going to do this. Okay, I'm not shorting this, but I don't think this holds. 43.58. That's, you know, less than $1 away. I think this stock breaks it. And I said earlier this morning, I think it breaks it today. I do not like those scoops on the 60, you know, to retake this in here. But if you took the 5-minute play, the 15-minute trigger, the 15-minute play is still in play. The 5-minute play is still in play. Back when they set up in here, they're still in play because the stop had to be 70. Okay? And the entry was 37, so you would have suffered past your price a little weeny bit here, but you're still okay. All right, everybody, let's get going now in the class for today. But there it is. There's a CSC. This is a bullish gap failure, and I really just, you know, I can't wait to see how this closes out. I think this breaks on through that number that today. I really do. I thought of it earlier. I was sitting here salivating, wondering, should I take it? Should I take it? Should I get back in this thing? What should I do? Should I do it? And I have this class today, and I don't really like to trade this afternoon, but honestly, these are the kinds of things that come out of no man's land. And you sit and watch them trade, and it keeps going to a bigger target, and it keeps dropping, and it keeps going, and you say, why am I not in this? And this is kind of like what this thing is doing today. But honestly, the bigger move happened this morning on the collapse. And looking at it now, it was the break of that number here. I mean, this is what made it just rock and roll. 45.50. Must have been something big on this chart, you know, to go back and look at it. So this is CSC bullish gap failure today. That's what this is. All right, let's get going with the class here. Hold on a minute, everybody.